This is the 2021 Suzuki Hayabusa, and it is the first year of the latest third generation bike. It's also one of the most important motorcycles of our time, and I'm gonna tell you guys why. In 1999, Suzuki built a motorcycle so fast the entire industry got together and said, yeah, we gotta stop this. Because they knew if they didn't restrict themselves, the world governments would. And that was gonna hurt their bottom line. They did this because of a motorcycle that Suzuki made called the Hayabusa, or the Peregrine Falcon, the fastest production bike on the planet. But then in 2021, everything started going towards electric and adventure bikes. But Suzuki's like, no, not us. First of all, they're not even trying to make anything electric. Second of all, for some reason they can't make an adventure bike. I don't know why. I think the V-Strom is a pretty poor attempt of it. But they decided to go with what's worked for them. And that's making a new Hayabusa even better than the last one. And this is it, the third generation Busa. And they did something with this bike that no one saw coming. So in 1999, Suzuki made the Hayabusa. It was a 1299cc motor and an inline four-cylinder, of course, and it had a top speed of 194 miles per hour, making it the fastest motorcycle in the world. But the manufacturers were like, you know what, we can't keep on fighting each other, making faster and faster bikes. Obviously, the next guy would be 200, and the next guy would be 205, the next guy would be 210, and they were thinking like, if we don't regulate this ourselves, and do a gentleman's agreement at 186, then someone else will regulate us, and we need to just keep it, we need to regulate ourselves. It's always a better idea to do that. So they did. So the claim is that the only unregulated Hayabusas are first year of 1999 and a partial year of 2000. And that model went from 1999 to 2007. Then in 2008, the Gen 2 came out. Now the Gen 2 was a little bit smoother on the styling. You could still tell it was a Hayabusa. Still had that big old horn that everyone loves. It's a big monster bike, but they bumped the horsepower up a little bit. This one was 194 horsepower, but still had that same smooth styling. It was a beautiful bike, and it still had the Hayabusa DNA built inside of it. And then for 13 whole years, we got nothing else. It was actually looking like Suzuki was going to stop making the Hayabusa altogether because they pulled out of the European market. But then in 2021, they came out with this, the third gen. You could say it's got basically the same 1340 inline four-cylinder, but Suzuki rebuilt almost every piece of the internals. Lighter pistons, new connecting rods, redesigned crankshaft, new fuel injection. But now this is the part where people start to lose their minds, where the Gen 2 had 194 horsepower, the Gen 3 has 187 horsepower. 7 horsepower less than the Gen 2. And you start thinking, Suzuki, what are you doing? Well, they have a plan. Let me explain it to you. Now, before you go cancel your order on a Gen 3 and go try to find the guy you sold your Gen 2 to, what you need to realize is that they moved the power band down. The mid-range torque range on this thing is insane. You don't have to wring its neck to feel like you're about to leave orbit. Now, you're always leaving orbit. The real world dyno numbers on this thing is 107.3 horsepower to the wheel and 106 foot-pounds of torque, which rivals most Harley Davidsons in terms of torque power. And that's all at the wheel, not the crank. What that means is, for you to match that type of power to weight ratio in a muscle car, that'd be like a Hellcat. You know, where stock, they're fast at 707 horsepower, you need to double that horsepower. You need around 1,400 horsepower to match the power to weight ratio on a 4,000 pound vehicle from a 500 pound vehicle. So it's pretty quick. It's got twin spar aluminum frame, basically borrowed from their MotoGP program. Brembo calipers up front, squeezing a twin 320 millimeter discs. These are the same brakes you'll find in the top tier superbikes. Fully adjustable KYB suspension front and rear. And the electronics package, well, that's where the Gen 3 really starts to separate itself from the first and second generations. The first two Hayabusas were fairly archaic, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but all you had was you, the throttle, and the tree or the curb that you're gonna hit. That's all there was. Nothing, not even, they had ABS, but that's it. Everything else was your wrist control. This is a technological masterpiece. This is a 6-axis IMU, the same type of technology that they use in satellites. and it's tracking your pitch and your yaw and your roll and all that stuff, and it's doing it 1,000 times a second. So it knows exactly what the bike's doing, and it's tracking that information to regulate the power. Because if you're turned like this, it knows you don't have full traction when you're leaned over, so it's going to limit everything, making this bike, one, significantly safer to ride and less likely to kill you, but also you add that stuff together, it's going to make you faster. Now all that data feeds into the Suzuki Drive Mode Selector Alpha, which is what they call their thing, their drive mode things, which gives you 3 standardized drive modes and then 3 customized drive modes that you can make whatever you want. It's got power modes, it's got traction control modes that are all adjustable. You can also turn it off. It also has anti-wheelie and lift control. It also has quick shift up and down. So you're riding this bike, you don't have to clutch it to downshift or upshift, and you can do no lift. So you can just be in the throttle, top of the gear, bam, pop it in the gear. It's the fastest, smoothest way to shift, and you can do the same thing with downshift. It's a great way to drive the bike. So you're probably wondering about the real life performance of this machine. No, not this machine, this machine. As an avid motorcycle rider, we know vegetables are gross and we don't eat that nonsense. However, I do need to stay healthy. That's why I eat Groons. Right here, superfood green gummies, fresh and sweet taste. Supports gut health, energy, immunity, but not like immunity against the law. That's just immunity against you getting sick. Recovery, beauty, and cognition with 60 plus ingredients. So it's not just vitamins and it's not just green gummies. It's both of them. It's all of that packed into one snack pack per day, and it tastes pretty good. This is my 3rd one. I don't know if you're supposed to eat that many a day, but I do. I think they taste great. And when I eat them, instead of eating them one by one, I just open them all up and throw them in my mouth. These are vegan, gluten-free, no weird dyes, no synthetic sweeteners, and instead of those multivitamins that have like 7 things in them, Groons has 20 plus vitamins and minerals and 60 real ingredients. And the cool thing about it is, for most of the vitamins, it's all 100% of what you need. And then for the minerals, it's 25%, so your body can actually absorb it. So guys, I can't get enough of these. These are great. If you want to try them, you can get 52% off your next Groons just by clicking the link in the description or scanning the QR code right here. It's super easy, no prep. Just grab a pouch, throw it in your pocket, and eat it whenever you want. I use them as a snack, and I probably eat too many of them. Let's stop talking about this machine. Let's get back to talking about this machine. It also has something that I saw BMW did a long time ago, and I'm like, why doesn't everyone do this? But they got cruise control on this bike. Why not? It takes up no space, it takes up no weight. Why shouldn't your bike have cruise control? Now in a second, we're gonna try out launch control, and we're gonna see if I can get this bike to go as fast as they're claiming it can go. Just a regular guy on the street, and see if we can hit that 2.9 second 0 to 60. We'll see if we can get it. Let's pop the seat off and see what's underneath here. Now, earlier in Suzuki, they would give you the seat and the cowl, that big old horn. Like it would just come with the bike. When I bought this one, they stopped doing that, and I think you have to buy it, and I was kind of annoyed. I really wanted to get it with it. Comes with the owner's manual inside. Also riding tips, it'll stay in that bag forever. Something I thought was really cool, to take the seat off, you need tools. And I'm always annoyed about that. I'm like, why can't I use the key to take the seat off? For whatever reason, you need tools. But why can't the bike provide those tools? And a lot of sport bikes don't have toolkits. But the cool thing about this, it actually does have a little toolkit. This would be this is the wrench and a little Phillips and flathead right there, built into the seat. And then right here, you have all the Allen keys that you would need. Probably take most of the body panels off the bike, which I think is great. I don't know why more bikes don't do this. It's no weight. It's basically no cost for the manufacturer. They spend pennies putting this in there. And if you're like, oh, it's weighing me down, just take them out. Who cares? Now the Hayabusa can be just as comfortable and at home on the racetrack, on the drag strip, and cruising down the highway, or putting a passenger on the back. It really is one of those bikes that can kind of do a lot of things. Now in off-road, no, this bike belongs 10 feet away from any type of gravel road or any type of off-road. But when it comes to the pavement, it's very at home almost anywhere. And when it comes to the ergonomics of it, it's funny, you'll see, you meet some of the coolest guys riding these big sport bikes. I don't know why, but that's just kind of how it is. It's extremely comfortable. You can see how the handlebars, the clip-ons, are above the top of the fork. You know, if this was an R1, it'd be down here. You'd be like this would be it. But I'm way up here, I mean, it's still a very sporty stance. You'll see guys on the race track dragging knee and doing fun things. There was actually even a race team maybe a decade ago, that they were running a Hayabusa in like a GSXR 1000 frame because it was an easy way to get like 220 horsepower out of the Hayabusa engine, and they were kind of a low budget team. If you were like, hey, what sport bike would you enjoy doing a long road trip on? Hands down, the Hayabusa. And the 3rd gen, it's got cruise control, and quick shift is the coolest thing. You know, launch control and quick shift, they're all things that people aftermarket put on their drag bikes and stuff, when it's just built in, which makes it, one, it's going to be a whole lot cleaner. You know, a lot of times you put aftermarket stuff, if something breaks, it's probably that system that you put onto it. Let me fire this thing up. We'll go take this thing for a spin, and we'll see if we can get that 0 to 60 to what they say you can do it. Now, that was done by a professional. We'll see how fast I can do it. All right, before we jump on the bike, let's do the Bible verse of the day. Proverbs 13:20. It's funny, 13:20. One who walks with wise people will be wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. That's a good Bible verse. All right, so the first thing you notice, the very, very first thing you notice about the Hayabusa, it's not how much power it has, it's how smooth it is. It's incredibly smooth. And it's actually, in a way, kind of a gentle giant. It's a big bike. It's a very large bike. I think it's 540 pounds. But it's very smooth. It's not twitchy. Like from 0, the throttle on is always smooth. Sometimes you ride a bike. The Yamaha MT bikes were like this in the beginning. Maybe they fixed it, I don't know. Haven't ridden a later model one. But they were like 0 throttle to 20. There was no in between. It was very like, it was very jerky, and a lot of people didn't like it. Now, if you rode it for a little while, you got used to it. But some people just couldn't get used to it. But the Hayabusa, smooth, next level smooth. Now the other thing we're going to do in a little bit is we're going to test out the launch control and see if I can do the launch control faster. See if I can get a better 0 to 60 than the launch control can get. The Busa's not the best handling sport bike, but it is still better. It can handle better than what you can do. I'm not trying to be rude, but chances are it can outperform you. So your limitation is not going to be the Hayabusa. Your limitation is your riding skills. Now, as smooth as it is, it's just as powerful. Now, why they don't put quick shift on every motorcycle out there, I don't know. Actually, I had a, and you know it costs them no money. You know it costs them no money to do it. It's just a tune and a little module. I'm sure it costs them 12 bucks or less. It makes shifting so smooth. But I was talking to the guys over at Harley Davidson, and we were testing out the new CVO bikes, the new CVO ST. No, not the ST. Just the new CVO bikes, and I really liked them. Really, really fun bikes. But I said, hey, how come? Why didn't you guys put a quick shift on it? They really made them to be race bikes, and how come you guys didn't put a quick shift on it? They had no answer for me. They're like, no one ever asked, and I'm like, I don't think that's true. But the new Hayabusa has got a quick shift. Now, obviously, if you have an older gen, if you have a Gen 1 or a Gen 2 Busa, you can put a quick shift module on it. I think they piggyback with the Power Commander. Or if you're like me and you generally like to keep your bikes as stock as you possibly can, because you know, because I think it's going to be more reliable if it's stock. then unless it's a race bike or something, then you gotta go with the Gen 3, because all the cool stuff is already built into it. Now the one thing I wish they put on this bike, and maybe they did it, I just don't know where it is a G-force gauge. I know they put them on some exotic cars and they put them on fast cars, but why don't they put them on motorcycles? Maybe they don't want you looking at the dash when you're really pulling, or at least give you a graph that showed you, like, man, I was pulling 2 G's lateral, 2 straight G's. Now in a second I'm going to stop and I'm going to show you how to do the launch control. It's really cool, and they kind of hit it into the buttons. There's no launch control button. You actually have to read the manual or watch a video like this to learn how to do it. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a second when I get a good place to stop, a good safe place I can do that. I actually need to do 0 to 60 because the speed limit is 60, and I safely stopped to 0. But somehow the Hayabusa can both be, you know, it's almost a bike that kind of transcends categories where people don't know where to put it. It's clearly a sport bike. It's so fast, it's so powerful, but also it kind of leans on the side of sport touring because it's really, really comfortable. So I guess you just call it I guess that's a big sport, but I don't know what you call it. But it definitely blends those lines of touring and sport touring. Alright, so you stop, you grab the start button again, and now we're in launch control. So let's see what it does. No idea when I hit it. Let's try it one more time. There. I could have done better. So when you're launching a bike like this, it's not easy because you have multiple. You know, with a car, you can wheelie, it's not a big deal. With this, if you start wheeling, it gets you, you know, you could loop it, but generally wheeling does not make you go faster. It just puts the front end up, so then you can't go with, it's a little more minute than just trying to go as fast as you can. And then the other aspect is spinning. You know, the back tire starts to spin, so you got to find that spot where you're not spinning, you're not doing a burnout, and you're able to get full power. So you're always on a bike like this, unless you stretch it out, you're always regulating between spinning, looping out and killing yourself, and then going as fast as you can. And in many ways, the bike has more power than it can handle. Let me try it without launch control. There. Nah, it was slower. Much slower. I would need to take this thing to the track and really dial it in. These bikes are super fun. Super fun. Think about a bike like this in terms of power, not just power to weight ratio, but think about it in terms of power to dollar ratio. Or G-force to dollar, or speed to dollar. This is the performance. This will outperform Now, a lot of times when you watch motorcycles drag race against cars, a lot, you know, the bikes don't get the quickest launch, but after about 60 miles an hour, they start to pull away pretty hard. And that's because they're struggling between spinning. You know, they got the smallest contact patch. You take a car with a big tire that's all-wheel drive. You know, it's got 10x the contact patch. Drivable contact patch is this big on a motorcycle. So it's always going to be regulating that power and traction, but it almost always beats the cars at around 60 and starts pulling away like really hard, and then they almost never can catch up to it. But you get that performance for around 20,000 bucks. Take the car that they're running it off of, minimum, let's say it's even the baddest Corvette, 120,000 bucks. That's the cheapest one, you know, or let's say it's a Porsche GT3, you know what I mean, 350,000 bucks, or a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, or, you know, it all just goes up from there. So this thing rivals, and this is one of the reasons why I love motorcycles. This bike rivals $1 million cars in performance, in speed, that you can get for basically no money. It's basically for free. Now, however, I don't like this paint scheme. They have some cooler ones that they made since when this thing came out. Part of me thinks maybe I should get another, instead of buying another one, just order a paint set for one of the cooler ones. I think they should make these bikes look more like GSXR 1000s. Really wild, blue, white, red. You know, like really cool looking 90s and 2000s paint schemes. But they make them for a different demographic. So, guys, that wraps up the video. You also might like this video right up here, so check that one out, and we'll see you guys next time. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going. Hey, special thanks to Groones for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click on the link below or in the QR code for 52% off Groones.